Hey guys, it's your girl Diablo, and I'm back at it again with another video for you guys. Now you know the drill. Before we jump into the video, I always have the same question for you guys.
Did you miss me?
I mean, did you? Like, it's been a whole 2 weeks already, you know what I'm saying? Now, before we get into the topic of the video, make sure you guys are liking, commenting, and thumbsing up the video because, you know, it helps me with the algorithm, and we are trying to grow our channel slowly but surely over here. Also, make sure to put that notification bell on so you know whenever I drop a video, a reel, a reaction, if I breathe. You just want to keep up with me. Make sure you have your post notifications on because we always got more shit to talk. And you guys know I love talking shit to you. Now, the topic of this video today, I had to title it, Truth is, I'm beyond tired. When I say that, I am so tired of these constant conversations that are in this thumbnail right now. I just want to wrap these conversations up in a bow, put them in a casket, attach cinder blocks to the casket, throw it in the ocean. That's how done I am with these conversations. After I speak my piece in this video, I never want to hear about this ever again. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So for the first topic, I just want to get this out the way, and I promised myself that I would not bring this up anymore because I am so tired of this conversation. This crime or this shooting happened 4 years, going on 5 years ago. The trial happened, I believe, maybe 2 years ago, a year ago. I can't 100% remember exactly what it was. This has been tried, convicted. I'm so tired of every time something goes on with Megan that the world feels the need to constantly bring up Tory Lanez and this whole situation. It's so frustrating. You get what I'm saying? I feel like Tory was offered a plea deal. He chose not to take the plea deal. He went to court. He blew trial. Now he's in jail. Nothing about this story in terms of him going to jail is special. He's not like Rodney King. He's not like Central Park 5. No matter how badly, you know, everyone wants him to be that. That's not what this is. This is somebody who committed a crime. Other people saw it. People in the situation tried to cover it up at first. He continued to taunt the victim, and the victim eventually exposed him.
Yes, this nigga Tory shot me. You shot me.
It went to court. The state took on the case, and he was convicted. And it is what it is. Like, rappers go to jail all the time. People do long bids in jail and they come home, life goes on. And I'm just so tired. It feels more like instead of it being about him being in jail, because I feel like most people, no matter how much they try to pretend for the world that they believe that he didn't shoot her, I feel like we all are just like, he shot her. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like we all know that. There's just a couple of things that I feel like I want to clear up about this case because I've been seeing a lot of misconceptions. And I feel like for Megan and Tory, I know they wish they just never met each other. And I feel like it sucks to be, specifically for Megan, it sucks to be tied to someone that you want to forget about. You know what I'm saying? Like having someone abuse you and then you being tied to that person publicly for the rest of your life, like, has to be mentally exhausting. And I just feel like everyone needs to just go their separate ways and just handle it from there. And a lot of the public backlash, the perceptions, the narratives, the lies that I see being spread, it just gives a lot of malicious intent. And I'm just really uncomfortable with the way that this conversation constantly spirals out of control. First off, I want to address this whole, like, Megan slept with her best friend's man thing because I seriously get so tired of seeing and hearing this conversation. I wasn't there. I don't know ins and outs of their relationship. So I just feel as though Kelsey and Tory were not in a relationship. Tory never said he was in a relationship with Kelsey. Kelsey made it very clear that she was not in a relationship with Tory. So the whole best friend's man thing, like, I feel like people word it like that because they want to have something to say, but that is just not true, number one. Number two, they both admitted, Megan and Kelsey admitted that Kelsey never said out her mouth, I told her that me and Tory were intimate. I feel as though they both admitted to the fact that they were not aware that the other person had sex with him. Kelsey also admitted in her interrogation and on the stand and in a recent interview that she was currently in a relationship with the man that she's now living with, has a child with. She, has her whole life set up. It included the fact that Kelsey had no issue with Megan and Tory dating or whatever the conversation, because I don't think Kelsey had the right to have an issue. Like, this wasn't her man. He was in a relationship and it just wasn't that type of situation. And Kelsey has made that clear, even though she lied initially. Later on, she cleared that up and made it very clear that that's not why they fell out. So this whole slept with her best friend man's thing, it just sounds ridiculous. I believe that Kelsey and Megan had a dynamic that only they know about, and I feel like Kelsey chose to put 20 on 10 in order to play the victim to the public, because I think she felt like Megan shouldn't be the only victim in the situation because she was also assaulted. And so in my opinion, when you mix jealousy, resentment, it can cause people to do a lot of things. Like get up on the stand and say they never saw something happen to you when they were standing right there and they saw it with their own two eyes. So I think that that's something that the public just likes to hold on to because I guess it justifies her being shot at. In my world, that's just not factually true. And in my opinion, it has nothing to do with the shooting. And the second thing was this conversation about the DNA not being on the gun. That is just not factually true. Okay, the DNA samples that were taken, one was a primary, which was 90%, and the other three, I believe, were 5%, 3%, 2%, meaning that it was not enough DNA for them to create an entire profile. But the issue with that is that the 90% DNA that was found on the gun was male DNA. So both DNA experts admitted that it was male DNA. So the idea that if Kelsey and Megan were tested, that it would have somehow changed, it wouldn't have, because the three samples that were too disintegrated to be made into a profile, there's not enough DNA. So even if they took everyone's DNA in that car, wouldn't come up on the other profiles, so we would still have the same conclusion that we have now. One, and two, with the 90% DNA that was male, Tory matched his DNA to that, and it came back that it was not a match to that DNA sample. But when it came to the other DNA samples that we just mentioned, it came up as inconclusive. But the issue with that is the 90% DNA sample is male. And since Megan and Kelsey are not men, does not put a smoking gun in Kelsey's hand. If anything, the real question is, there was only one other man in that car, and that man has not been tested, and that's the driver. This whole conversation about the DNA, it makes no difference because one, there was not enough DNA to tell whose it was, whether it was Kelsey, Megan's, Quan's, whoever. And the primary 90% DNA was a male who wasn't Tory. And since Megan and Kelsey aren't men, that wouldn't have helped them anyway. And that wasn't what got him convicted. So I'm just really tired of hearing that whole conversation. Next thing is the gunshot residue on the hands part. I know that a lot of people have been kind of this, there was no gunshot residue on his hands. His own lawyers in their appeal for a new trial said out their own mouths he had gunshot residue on his hands. That's it. So, why people are running with that lie, I feel like the truth should be rooted in facts. And if you believe that he's innocent, you don't have to lie about the facts. The fact is he had gunshot residue on his hands, and the other fact is that his DNA was excluded from the primary, but it was inconclusive when it came to the other DNA samples. That is the truth. And I don't understand why people are tweaking the facts to fit a narrative, and that's what it's starting to kind of get becoming. The idea that the gun is missing is also false. The bullet fragments that were pulled out of her foot, those are missing. That is a fact. That's what's been stated by the court. But they don't bring guns to courtrooms to, show you guys. That's just not how it works. So once again, why we're running around with the narrative that the gun is missing, I just believe, once again, it's another fact that's being twisted to support a narrative. Emails came out where Tory offered to pay for Kelsey's medical bills, which, once again, if she's the shooter, why would I be offering to pay for her medical bills? In my opinion, he offered to pay for her medical bills because Kelsey told the truth that he whooped her ass, right? And the reason why I believe that this is the truth is because the pieces of evidence that was submitted was a text message from Kelsey to Megan saying that her heart murmur was messing up and her neck was broken because he had basically dragged her out of the car by her hair and assaulted her. And she had all of these pictures and bruise marks and things like that. So I absolutely believe that he assaulted Kelsey as well. I believe that Kelsey, in my opinion, was paid off because when Kelsey got on that stand, outside of the shooting, they asked Kelsey straight up, did Tory assault you? And she said, Tory never assaulted me. So then why would he need to be paying your medical bills if he didn't assault you? So it just sounds like, in my opinion, she was paid for her trauma and she felt like, okay, well, I got paid for my trauma. I got compensated for what happened to me. And she felt like, I'm not going to get up here and offend nobody. I got what I wanted and I'm out. So that, once again, that's just another reason why I'm so tired of this conversation being had. Like Kelsey said, he did it. The witness that Tory himself put on the stand said he did it. The narrative is that Kelsey did it, but from the very beginning, Tory cleared Kelsey. On multiple occasions, Tory cleared Kelsey. So I just think that all of that is weird. I also think it's weird that Kelsey, in her diss track, sampled a song that Tory made, I believe, in regards to the shooting and the whole situation, which I find to be very interesting because Tory constantly lets us know, independent artist. So if Kelsey wanted to clear something like that from Tory, she would have to, I don't know, go through him to clear his music. And why would I clear a sample for a shooter if I'm being charged with a crime that they committed? Why would I, as the witness, clear it with the person that I went into the police station and said, hey, he shot her? Why would I want to clear a record with him targeted at my best friend who was shot unless we're all in cahoots? That factored in with the fact that she is in a relationship with a label that Kelsey out her own mouth said was basically robbing Megan blind. The fact that Tory and 1501 and its associates have been seen out together prior to the trial, it just gives cover up. It all gives concerted effort to try to, get away with it. And I think that they failed. And I feel like since they failed and he was ultimately held accountable for his actions, the world's going to make Megan never forget it. I'm tired of the conversation. It's been solved and I just wish we would move on. You know what I'm saying? Gag order has been lifted for some time now. He's done live streams. He's released all types of trapped in the closet music tapes and interviews. And he had no problem speaking on the gossip surrounding the shooting before the trial. So why would he stay quiet about his innocence facing 10 years and deportation? You get what I'm saying? You believe that Tory is innocent, which is your right to believe. That, to me, means that you also believe that he would sacrifice himself to save Kelsey, a girl that he knew for all of 3 months, that he would leave his independent label that he built from scratch. He would leave his family, his child, his career, his citizenship, and his ability to provide for himself and his family in order to protect a woman who went to the police and said flat out, he shot her. And on top of that, this woman is also in a relationship and has a child with somebody else. None of that is believable. I'm sorry. And I know that people want it to be true, but it's just not true. Quan's statement tells me nothing because the fact that Kelsey said you did it, your own witness said you did it, and the victim said you did it, and the only person who is unanimously on your side can't even say that you didn't do it. It sounds stupid, it sounds dumb, and it sounds unintelligent. Tory clearly lied on that prison phone call when he said that he never touched that gun.
Almost half a year over a gun that the DAs lied and said I shot. In 2021, they demanded I take a DNA test. I took that test with no pushback, delay, or question. Not only because I knew I never shot the gun, but mainly because I was 100% positive I never even touched this gun.
But the artist that was signed to him, Melly, and his witness said that he touched the gun. Melly even came out and tried to defend him, and in defending him, she ultimately admitted that he lied about touching the gun. Because she stated that He took the gun from Kelsey and he emptied the clip in order to stop whatever was going on. But wouldn't that mean that you touched the gun? Wouldn't that mean that you shot the gun? So ultimately, I believe what's going on is Tory knows he shot the gun. Tory knows that when he shot it, that Megan was hit from him shooting the gun. And I believe that he's doing everything in his power to refrain from having to admit that he had the gun and he shot it and she got shot because of it. And at the end of the day, who likes with, gossipy type of stuff, that's just for the internet. At the end of the day, the law is very cut and dry. When you pull a gun out on somebody, the law feels like you are an adult, because Tory's not a child, and you understand the gravity of what could happen when you shoot a gun. And you don't get to shoot a gun or shoot in the direction or shoot at somebody and then dictate what happens and then act like you're the one being railroaded when you're held accountable for your actions on a legal sense. Now, everything else, morally and things like that, I can't tell you who these people are because I don't know them. But all I know is that Megan was shot. She covered it up. It came out that she was shot. He taunted her for years. They went back and forth. And then in the end, it was proven that she told the truth, that he shot her. And I think that men and people who don't like her want to constantly keep this conversation alive because it puts a dark cloud over her career. And I'm tired of hearing about it from either side. Her side, his side. I don't want to hear it no more. He shot her. Okay? Yeah. Let's move on to the next topic. Now for the next topic, this is just something, I'm going to run through this really quickly. I'm not going to go super in depth with this, but this whole Kendrick and Drake feud is really starting to just irritate me. It's becoming just like the Tory and Megan case. It's like it was something that happened. They got into a competitive rap battle, lost, and I just feel like we need to move on. Like, we keep having these conversations. I don't understand why every time a subject comes up about Kendrick doing something good or Drake doing something good or whatever the case may be, it just constantly goes back to this whole conversation of competitive battle that they had. I feel like when the conversation of the entire Super Bowl came up, it became this really disingenuous conversation about not even if Kendrick should do the halftime show at the Super Bowl. I think it became disingenuous in regards to Wayne and just Young Money and Drake. And at its core, people don't really care too much that Wayne isn't doing the Super Bowl. It's more so about the fact that Kendrick is the one doing it. I feel like on the internet, you get a lot of crybaby fans, people who are coping with parasocial relationships, and they're taking Drake's imaginary loss as a loss for them and a loss for the culture and things like that. At the end of the day, Drake is a entertainer. You get what I'm saying? He has his bops, he has his hits. Anyone who sits up here and says that Drake doesn't make good music or hasn't made good music in the past is full of bullshit. The same goes for Kendrick. They both make great music. Drake is just a little bit more consistent in terms of, being around, always hanging out. Kendrick's more of a introvert type of person. But that's totally fine. Everyone handles fame and handles their career differently. I feel like this battle between Drake and Kendrick was 10 years in the making. I feel like no one should be shocked by it. And I feel like we all knew how this battle would end. In no place on planet of Earth or any other planet is Drake out rapping Kendrick Lamar. Now, I'm not talking about making good music. I'm not talking about making club bangers. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Drake is not a better lyricist than Kendrick Lamar, period. So I don't really understand what we were expecting from this battle. I'm just getting tired of the fans not letting it go. I'm getting tired of Drake not letting it go. Drake does not take L's very well. And I think that this battle and him losing in front of the world is really starting to show his character. I'm not a huge fan of Drake. I used to be a really big fan of his in the beginning, but I just don't like men who come after women unprovoked. I think it's weird. Him coming after Rihanna, him coming after Serena, him coming after his own baby mother, him coming after Megan. I just feel like you're a man, and you coming at these women for simply doing absolutely nothing to you is weird, and I will never applaud that type of corny shit. So I'm just honestly tired of this whole conversation. I hope after the Grammys surpasses, I hope that after the Super Bowl surpasses, that we can all just genuinely move on from this topic, because I am so tired of talking about this. It's fucking boring me, and I don't get why it's not boring you guys. You know what I'm saying? And our final topic is Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. I think of all the topics of this video, this might be the one that I'm genuinely sick of. I am sick of both of them. They both have their flaws, both have their qualities. They are a lot alike. They like to control things. They like to cry when things don't go their way. They like to drag things and bitch and moan. Everybody wants to be in charge of the girls and everybody wants to be the leader. And remember when you were in first grade and your teacher would make you line up and there was those two people who were always fighting on who was going to be at the front of the line? That's them too. And I'm pretty much just tired of it. I'm over it. I feel like it has put a damper on not only Nicki's career in regards to, it shattered that whole, I don't know, gangster image or whatever it was that she was trying to protect, because she's not a gangster. She's not a gangster, she's a rapper. And she's a really good rapper at that. So this whole like queen sleaze op thing, if people want to pretend like that's always been her thing, you guys can sit up here and lie, but it hasn't. She only became gang affiliated when her and Cardi got into that physical altercation. That's it. And it gives disingenuous, you were just a Barbie. How are you a gang member now? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mesh for me. I want Nicki to go back to being that cute, beautiful, lady, nasty, diva attitude rapper that she used to be. And I would like for her to, whether she retires or whether she stays here, I would love to see her move with grace and not resort to such ghetto-tree. I feel like Cardi is way too involved in bullshit. I feel like she has not had an album in 7 years, and I feel like that is a crock of bullshit if you call yourself an artist. I don't care how anybody feels about what I'm saying. I really expect for these two women to be, quote unquote, the top of the totem pole. They're not really acting like it. And their fans are the worst. And I don't mean individually. When it comes to the topic of Nicki versus Cardi B, every podcast asks the same question. Every news station, every quiz you take, everything. It's tiring, bro. It's so tiring. And more recently, there was this whole conversation about Cardi speaking at the rally for presidential candidate Kamala Harris, and whole illiteracy, and Cardi saying that your children are really smart, which her kids are super smart, and she should be able to brag about that. I don't think anybody should take saying her child is smart is saying that Nicki's child is somehow not smart or anything like that. I don't understand how we start putting up pictures and salacious, disgusting pictures and edited pictures of culture being, by her father. I would love to know who took the time out to edit such a disgusting. You should be in prison. Whoever put those pictures together, whether it's of Papa Bear or of Cardi's kids, all y'all need to be in jail. It is so ridiculous how a petty little rap beef turned into people talking about each other's kids and people online and people trying to fight. I will always stand 10 toes on the idea that Cardi should not have showed her ass like that. I understand being from where we from, sometimes when a person be running their mouth too much, that shit just gets under your skin, and I get it. I get it. But at the Harper's Bazaar party, that's just, I feel like Cardi worked so hard to get where she was, and I feel like that whole fight really put a damper on her career. Just in terms of her and Nicki Minaj, I think it put a damper on her career itself, and I really wish that she was able to move past that. I wish Nicki was able to move past that, and I wish that the fans and social media didn't keep dragging it, because I feel like, once again, us as Black community, or just Black people who enjoy our culture, hip-hop, we keep talking about the same 3 conversations that are getting us nowhere. So yeah, those are just my thoughts. If there's any other topics in the hip-hop community and the Black community that you two are tired of hearing, please let me know down below. I will compile all you guys' opinions, and I'll also give my opinions on some of those topics too, because I'm tired. I feel like I'm drained. I don't know if it's only me, but I know, like, being on social media, especially being a person who lingers in Black spaces, I noticed that we don't really talk about anything. We talk about the same conversations every 5 to 7 business days, and it's such a nasty, negative space that it makes me not even really want to be on the internet. When artists drop stuff, I buy it, I tweet it and all that stuff, but in depth, everything's just so nasty, and I'm just really over it. So yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching my video. Don't forget to thumbs up the video. I would greatly appreciate it. don't forget, leave your comments. Let me know what you think down below. If there's any topics that you're quite frankly tired of talking about, leave that down below. You can sing me praises. You can have opposing opinions. I welcome all types of criticism. I'm open to hearing other people's viewpoints and, you know, other people's reasonings. However, do not be disrespectful in my comments because I will curse you the fuck out. Okay? Bye!